How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the last bastion of sanity for this portion of the internet. I give to you the Last Vox. My name is Matt, and I'm glad you are all here because we are back from vacation, back into your hearts, and back talking about, well, crazy people. Now, for those of you who don't know, I tend to talk about some weird stuff, and it's not necessarily always good, it's not necessarily always bad, but it is definitely something. And for the last week, we've been on vacation, so I haven't been able to talk to you lovely people, so I want to say hello to who is here. So let's take a look, shall we? Mitzi was first. How's it going, Mitzi? She got her first again. Zaw is here. How's it going, Zaw? Ishtar, how's it going, gorgeous? Jake, nice to see you. Ray has been on the meme patrol lately, and he's been putting them up in the Discord and on Twitter. If you want to laugh, if you want to have a good time, follow Ray on Twitter. It's a good idea. Steve, how's it going? You're not late. Apparently I started a little late. That's fine. Let's see who else is here. I think that's it. Insanity is the most sane thing on this world. You're not wrong. Well, let's talk about insanity. Let's talk about the most important thing that has happened in the last week. Well, that would be the impeachment of Donald J. Trump, and then the Senate hearing that happened afterwards. Now, for those of you who have been following, it's actually kind of important. We use impeachment as a way to regulate the people we have in power. We kind of have to. It's what we need to do. And, well, the House Democrats decided that they were going to try and force through something that they knew wasn't going to work. That's right. They wasted your time, they wasted your money, and they wasted their sanity just to try and impeach Donald Trump. Now, the way that it works is Donald Trump was impeached. The House got the letters of impeachment, or the articles of impeachment, passed through, so yes, he will be considered an impeached president. The problem is that apparently the House Democrats thought that they could talk their way into the hearts and into the minds of the conservatives on the Republican side. Let's just say this didn't work too well. Basically, the Dems repeated themselves over and over and over again, and nothing happened. Adam Shifty Schiff went up there and said, "Believe me, I know Donald Trump is guilty. He is guilty of abusing his power. He's guilty of crimes crimes you don't even know about. He's also a racist. He's also a sexist. He's also a transphobic. Trust me, I know." Yeah, that, the citations that Schiff were giving out was basically, dude, I know what I'm talking about. So there was a whole kerfuffle. Now, leading up to the articles of impeachment being passed, the Democrats called a whole bunch of witnesses. And to prove their point, that they knew they were going to get the articles of impeachment passed because the Democrats own the House. It's Congress. So they didn't actually have to give their best, you could say, because they have crazy people like Ilhan Omar and, AOC in there, and they're gonna pass whatever Trump wants them to say, or whatever the Dems want them to say. Turd Ferguson, my man, where have you been? Holy shit. Long time. Hashtag listen and believe, Orange Man literally is the Antichrist. Well, that's what they're actually pushing. But yeah, they called their witnesses, and they did not let Republicans call the ones that they wanted. Namely being Hunter Biden and the whistleblower. I can't say his name because YouTube will yeet this stream from being live and completely off its platform. Even though the whistleblower's name has been said by the president, has been said by Adam Schiff, has been said all over the news, we lowly alternative media site people and alternative news people are not allowed to say that person's name. So they wanted to call those witnesses, and pretty much the Dems said no. So they passed the articles of impeachment. I'm giving a brief rundown. This took months to go by, okay? So after that, Nancy, play with your dentures, Pelosi, held off on actually filing the articles of impeachment for about a month, almost. Because she knew that they were going to fail in the Senate. The Senate was not going to vote to remove the president from office. And that's exactly what happened. There was a bullshit trial where President Trump didn't let the Senate Republicans basically kind of did the same thing. We're not going to let you call any witnesses either. Thank you, Turd Ferguson. Turd Ferguson is a new member of the channel. He now gets a nifty little badge, and his name will be green. This is awesome. Thank you very much, my man. So, no one thought that this was going to go through. Apparently, the Dems really, really, really wanted it to pass. Now, some things they don't tell you is that there were a couple Democrats in the Senate that were really thinking about voting not guilty. But because of Mitt Romney and his vote of guilty in the first article of impeachment, they changed their mind and backed down. Well, either way, the first article of impeachment was denied because they didn't get 2/3 of the House, or 2/3 of the Senate. It was 57 to 43. So, he is acquitted of Article 1, which was abuse of power. Now, let's be honest here. Abuse of power is opinion. Now, what a lot of these idiots on Twitter, and I say it time and time again, Twitter is not real. What these woke, wannabe idiots on Twitter like to say is that Trump is so guilty. He's done so many things. He's committed so many crimes. And yet, when I respond with them, well, then why didn't they impeach him on those crimes? I mean, if it's so obvious that Orange Man is that, bad, why is the House not bringing up articles of impeachment on that? It's quite simple. They have no proof of it. So they have to go off of something that isn't an actual crime. Now, if you watch... I can't remember his name. Viva Fry. He's a lawyer turned YouTuber. Basically, he had someone on talking about impeachment and why you don't need a crime to impeach the president. Basically, it's because of the fact that a sitting president can't be arrested. But they could have brought him up on real crimes. They just didn't have proof of it. So they went with abuse of power, and a lot of people confused this with obstruction of justice. It wasn't obstruction of justice, it was obstruction of Congress. Now, obstruction of justice is a crime, which they still couldn't get Trump on when they did the whole Mueller report thing, which was amazing. So they obstructed Congress. Now, that wasn't necessarily a crime, because he has something called executive privilege. Now, what that privilege is we as a nation allow him a certain amount of wiggle room. He gets to do certain things that normal people can't do, which is basically tell everybody who is in his cabinet, yeah, you can ignore Congress. You don't have to go testify. Just sit back, we'll let this thing play out how it will. And that's kind of what Trump did. He basically told his cabinet, you don't have to testify. So they added that to his impeachment things. So they're both basically non-crimes, and they were trying to get him on non-crimes. So, first article of impeachment, abuse of power went down 47 to 53. The second article of impeachment, Romney apparently realized that he fucked up, and it went 54 to 46. Or 58 to 42, something like that. It was, I tweeted it out. It was basically he realized he fucked up and that no other Republican was going to side with him, and he voted not guilty on obstruction of Congress. Yeah, a lot of people were a little pissed off at Romney, right? So, Trump gets acquitted. This man has been inundated with them trying to smear his name, drag him from his presidency, make it seem like his presidency is the worst president in the entire history of our country. So he comes out with his State of the Union, and metaphorically, because it would be illegal if he did it for real, unzipped his pants, pulled his massive dick out, and slapped it over the face of every single Democrat in the House and in the Senate. At one point, in his State of the Union address, he said something to include the Democrats, and he waved his arm over towards them, and they went, "Oh shit, he's mentioning us, we need to stand up." Yes, sir. Yes, Master President. Yes, Lord God, or God Lord Trump, we will stand because you have waved in our general direction. This is just... He deserves his victory lap, and he got it. And he really, really, really kind of rubbed that one in. And of course, what we had during the State of the Union exactly afterwards, besides Nancy Pelosi playing with her dentures, which I do have a denture fund up. For anyone who wants to know, we are trying to get Nancy Pelosi some brand new dentures and some good denture cream. She really, really wants to have her dentures taken out, and basically, she gets the implants so she doesn't have to mess with it anymore. So we're really trying to do that. That's my new donation goal. Anything I can get. If I don't reach the goal, I am going to keep. But other than that, I'm going to basically send to Nancy Pelosi and try and get her some better dentures. So, she rips up the State of the Union speech. Now, people are saying that was a crime because it was a document of the U.S. government. You can't deface it like that. You can argue against that, but people are kind of trying to push that. It's you tried to impeach Trump on a bullshit crime. We're going to try and get rid of Nancy Pelosi on the same thing. Tit for tat. So that was a whole different thing. Real quick, let's see. Yeah, God Emperor. I'm sorry, guys. Zeogold says, "Holy crap, just realized that our current president could be considered a Teflon Don." Yeah, that's pretty true. Then Turd Ferguson says, "Didn't we elect Trump to obstruct Congress?" Yeah, pretty much. Most people elected Trump because we liked how he pushed back against people who are filled with that PC bullshit. Almost like Pelosi and company wanted to get rid of him just because he kept his campaign promise and won't appease their temper tantrums. That is an extremely good point, and I'm going to point this out too. I want you to look back at Barack Obama. I want you to look back at both Bushes. I want you to look back at Clinton. Out of all of them, I think even going back to Ronald Reagan, how many presidents actually kept their campaign promises? My guess is none of them. Except for one. Donald Trump has kept almost every single one of his campaign promises. That's why people like him. He helped with jobs, he helped with unemployment. He has built, not only is he getting funding for a wall, he's got two walls. He's got a physical wall, and then not only that, but he fixed it so there is a metaphorical wall between Mexico and the U.S. We saw that with the migrant caravan that hit Mexico, and they went, no, you turn your asses around. So yeah, Pelosi rips up the speech, and people lose their minds. You got people on Twitter going, yes, Queen, you are so powerful. Show Trump exactly what you do. Show him your power. And then you have everybody else kind of going, you kind of overstepped your bounds there, Missy. What are you doing? You're supposed to be the Speaker of the House. You are supposed to be stoic in your actions. You are supposed to appear nonpartisan. That is supposed to be your strength. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't last an hour. I mean, come on. She had Democrats in the Senate confront her afterwards. And the best part of all of this, I don't know if you guys watch C-SPAN unless you need to fall asleep, but C-SPAN had a Jerry Springer moment. After the State of the Union address, they opened up the phone lines. Now they have 3 separate phone lines. One for Democrats, one for Republicans, and one for independents. They basically said, we're going to talk to the Dems. Dems came on, and holy shit, these were normal people saying that they will never vote Democrat again because of stuff that Pelosi has done and tearing up the speech. How do I know they're not trolls? All you have to do is listen to them. These were actual people. No one goes on to C-SPAN to troll C-SPAN. Why? Because no one actually watches C-SPAN. But they had their Jerry Springer moment where people were pissed off. Someone saying, I've been a Democrat for 70 years. I will never vote Democrat again. This has been the best week ever for Donald Trump. I don't know. He asked at the beginning of his presidency, are you guys tired of winning? Because you're going to get tired of winning from all the winning we're going to be doing. And over the last few months, I can't disagree with that. Trump has pretty much fucking won everything. Because what they're going to do is he's been acquitted. They're going to wait for the re-election of Donald Trump. And Election Day also has to deal with being elected in Congress. Congress starts getting their... Senate and Congress start getting their stuff together. I think Senate gets elected during the presidential election as well. I have a feeling the Republicans are going to stay right where they are. It's 2 years after this that, well, the Dems need to start paying attention. Because if they don't stop this bullshit... they're going to lose the House as well. And then we're going to have a mega majority. We already have a super majority with the president being Republican and the Senate being mainly Republican. Now we're going to have a major majority, which is having the House being mainly Republican, the Senate being mainly Republican, and having a Republican Senate, or a Republican president. It's going to be bad for people who are, as Turd Ferguson puts it, the tranny coalition. But speaking of tranny coalition, thank you, Turd. You opened up the floor for me because you guys don't come here to listen to me ramble about stuff like this. You guys want to hear the insanity that I have seen. Now, because I was gone next week, some of these articles may be a little old, but they're not really time sensitive, so it's fine. And yes, Trump is definitely the commander and troll. He's one of the best trolls we've ever had, and he knows it. He enjoys it. So, I know you guys know who Jessica Yaniv is. I've talked about her before. The last time we talked about her, we showed her assaulting someone. Well, how's it going, Ben? No, I have not. I have not raged yet. We were just talking about. El Jefe Trump. Look at that face. That's a face for radio right there. Jessica Yaniv has been arrested and charged with assault. This is a good day. It was a good day a while ago. This was 3 weeks ago. I didn't get a chance to talk about it then, but she's out on bail. But she got charged with assault. So here we go. Jessica Yaniv was arrested for the assault of a Canadian journalist over the weekend. According to Kian Bexty, I don't know how to say that one. The journalist who was assaulted by Yaniv on camera outside of the BC courts on January 14th, 2020. Yaniv spent time behind bars on the charge of assault. She may face up to 5 years for the assault. I'm sorry I'm late on this one, guys. I really am. I did have this up before. I just never got to it. The same day, Yaniv falsely accused TPM's own Amy Eileen Ham of sexual assault while at the courtroom. Ham is suing Yaniv for defamation. She just keeps this up. She keeps going. It's nothing good. There was widespread speculation that Yaniv was arrested over the weekend, but the Post-Millennial and other outlets were unable to verify the claims at the time. Bexty, being the alleged victim in this particular case, was able to confirm the arrest Wednesday afternoon. So, with this, I have a question. So, do we send Yaniv to an all-women's prison, or do we send her to an all-male prison? Because we know for a fact that Yaniv is, well, definitely a man. There's nothing female about Yaniv, except for possibly the hair. Now, here's my dilemma. Because if we send Yaniv to an all-male prison, she will be sexually assaulted. Which I disagree with. But if we send her to an all-women's prison, the women are going to be assaulted. And I don't think that's right either. I kind of agree with Damn Alien. How's it going? Send Yaniv to a co-ed wood chipper. Or, like most people should, just take a really, really hot knife and cut her balls off. Then she won't have to worry about waxing them. Hey, Za, in prison, it's kind of like high school. The sex you want, you ain't getting. And the sex you're getting, you don't want. So someone would definitely take pity and throw her a bone or two, whether she wanted it or not. Let me continue. When reached for comment, Bexty said, Yaniv has been ordered to cease all contact with me, both directly and indirectly. And I do want to point out, I follow Yaniv on Twitter. There has not been many posts. I do believe that she's still in jail. I don't know. But I do know that she hasn't been posting a lot. I think she posts maybe once a week. So maybe she is out and she's just not allowed to be connected to Twitter. I don't know. Maybe she actually got a lawyer and the lawyer was like, stay off of Twitter because you're a fucking detriment to your own case. I can't wait for the day when Yaniv is put away for the long haul. He is dangerous and unpredictable. Ray says they should punish her according to the ancient Canadian ways. They should surgically graft moose antlers as the mark of the un-Canadian. Vin has a good choice. Throw her in a cushioned room with white noise playing in speakers 24/7. That's a good way to drive someone crazy. Mitzi, we keep telling you, with people like Yaniv in that country, we know for a fact it's not real. Not only is it a mass hallucination that people aren't waking up from, it's driving people insane like Jessica Yaniv. You need to help wake the rest of the people up around you, Mitzi. It's the only way. Even if Yaniv is behind bars, the civil litigations brought by Bexty and Ham against Yaniv for assault and defamation, respectively, can proceed, because she'll be taken to court anyway. According to Bexty, Yaniv would be court-ordered to appear for the civil litigations as planned. Yaniv was released back into the community after the arrest and will appear in court. Okay, she is back. In February, she will also appear in court in February for 2 prohibited weapons charges. So, this month, in the fake country of Canada, there's going to be 3 court cases against Yaniv. One of them could send her away for 5 years. Now, sending her to Saudi Arabia is a problem. Do you want to know why it's a problem? All she has to do is pretend she's a man again, and they'll leave her alone. There's... Let's see. Man Squatch says they already have factories that work without human workers, and engineers are working on maintenance systems. Over the next 5 years, you will see those factories take off. That would be good. So, Yaniv is going to get her comeuppance, one way or another. And I'm happy about that. Maybe it will get her dumbass to calm the fuck down. But Yaniv is cringy enough, right? By herself. No, okay, damn alien, you're right. We don't hate the Saudis that much. We need to send her to Iran. Alright. Yaniv is cringy. Okay, we know Yaniv is cringy. The things that Yaniv does makes us all... I mean, I said it before. When you have not even a single activist standing up for you, you done fucked up. Especially with the whole trans thing. Trans activists are fucking crazy, and they will stand up for anyone at any time. But now, you have someone like Jessica Yaniv, where even the trans activists on Twitter are going, we're not with her. That's pretty bad. So, I have something from... Okay, so I have 2 kind of shows that have play on words, right? MSNBC, we're the good MSNBC, not like the crazy idiots that are on TV. Well, it's trying to steal their viewership, which I would love. But I also, Vox, people kind of think that this is about Vox, like the magazine and the online trash magazine. I actually have something from Vox, and it's really stupid. For those of you who don't know, in August of 2014, a movement was created. Not just excuse me. Not just any movement, but the new boogeyman of the internet was created. Oh God, Ray. Ray says, hey, what do you call it when a Mexican undergoes sex change surgery? Manual transmission. That's bad, Ray. Shame on yourself. There was this boogeyman of the internet was created called #Gamergate. CEO Gold, you're not wrong comparatively. Thank you. I wish we had their numbers. Just saying. But #Gamergate was created, and the internet lost their goddamn minds. Even more than they already had. So, because she is waning in popularity, because her scam game that she was putting together has stolen $85,000 from people, and nothing has been produced. On top of that, the person that she was basing her game off of wants nothing to do with it. Zoe Quinn was in the news in late January. January 20th, to be exact. What we still haven't learned from Gamergate. Oh yeah. Now, before we go on, I do want to say this. I do appreciate any kind of donations you guys give. But I just realized that there's something that I haven't brought up that I don't know that haven't brought up that I don't know if you guys is available. If you do super chats, there's another button down there for super stickers. It is the stupidest thing, but they have animated stickers that do the same thing as super chats. For those who don't want to say anything and just kind of want to throw out a sticker. Yeah, 6 years and they're still losing it over Gamergate. So Gamergate should have armed us against bad actors and bad faith arguments, but it didn't. Here's my thing. You didn't get armed against bad faith arguments against Gamergate? Is it fucking possible? Maybe, just fucking maybe, that you were the one giving the bad faith arguments. Since the only thing that you could possibly do was just say, oh, Gamergate is nothing but a bunch of hateful male misogynists who hate women and want them out of games. You know, because a bunch of dudes don't want women around their hobby where they can play with them and things like that and use it to get to know them and possibly, you know, do things together with them. I know, get a relationship going around it? Who knows? But yeah, it was nothing but, I mean, it started off with, Gamergate was like 40 incel virgins in a basement, and then suddenly around 2016 Gamergate was so big that we were actually able to elect Donald Trump. The narrative changes. It changes, you know, like someone who ate Taco Bell late at night and diapers. I mean, it's just what it is. So let's get into this bullshit from Vox and see what they have to say about learning from Gamergate. It's natural to assess what socio-cultural lessons we've learned from the previous decade, now that we've entered a new one. Ray says, question, what do you call 40 incel virgins in a basement? Answer, an Antifa planning meeting and cry session. You're not wrong. And whether they're the kinds that might help us make to the 2020s a better era, no honest attempt at such an assessment can be complete without grappling. See, I'm already getting indigestion because I'm allergic to bullshit. Grappling with the messy human dramas and the increasing trend towards polarized, incendiary conversations that emerge in the latter half of the 2010s. And that means contending with the unlikely, unpleasant, and far-fetching watershed movement that was Gamergate. You know, what I've noticed over the last decade is that the incendiary, polarizing conversations are not coming from the people that were pro-Gamergate. They're the ones that are basically saying J.K. Rowling is canceled because she's a TERF. Stephen King is canceled because he thinks meritocracy is how the Oscars should go. That's polarizing. The far left is the ones that are polarizing our nation, and they don't see it. Anita Sarkeesian herself called for segregation of schools. You know, the thing that we're not supposed to have anymore? She wants people to be put in boxes. She wants people to be designated by their little groups because it allows them to start claiming victim points over whoever needs the victim points. If you're a woman, that's a section. If you're a black woman, that's another section, and you get more victim points than a regular woman. If you're a Chinese woman, you get less victim points. because you're apparently at the top of the food chain. But, you know, we're not going to talk about that. This is Vox, of course. They're going to think it's just all the righties and the far right. Everybody who is right of fucking Karl Marx is apparently, you know, far right. As it was happening, many members of the media were quick to dismiss it, sparked by a single blog post published in August of 2014. Yes, she did call for a female hive mind. You're supposed to basically think for the woman, how good it's going to be for women, why it's good for the women, and if you speak against it, you are no longer part of the group. Gamergate was still very much alive and well when an editor asked me, as a reporter who covered it since the very beginning, to write a recap of it near the end of that year. Yeah, it was... Gamergate was like a 2-year long thing. It kept going because, well, the literally who's were out and about. The editor wanted a piece that framed the entire event in the past tense, even though the hashtag was still going strong. The women it targeted were still being harassed. Okay, let's be honest here. I'm not gonna lie, when Anita Sarkeesian put herself in the spotlight and became a public figure, she still wanted to have that privacy. You become a celebrity, you become, well, a public figure. People get to criticize you. People get to make fun of you. People get to talk about you. People get to lie about you. Do I think she got death threats? Yeah, probably. Is that a bad thing? Yes, very much so. Is it as bad as she said? No, not at all. Do you want to know how I know that? Because no one could leave a comment or a rating on any of her videos. When she went on with the Colbert Show, on the Daily Show, when she went on with Stephen Colbert, that was the only video that the Colbert Show turned off comments and ratings. She never accepted criticism, and as soon as she got it, she would block and mute on Twitter. Okay, she didn't get this shit. But were these women targeted? Yeah, because they made themselves the target. When, you know, Brianna Wu comes out and starts poking the hive by making fun of people and then making a fake account to poke at them more, did she honestly think that was going to work out when it comes to find out she was a woman? On top of that, you know, she had to leave her home, and then she returned because she was so scared to do a public interview there. You know, she tweeted out her actual location at a convention because she was so scared that people were going to do stuff. Look, this is all hyperbolic bullshit that they're talking about. They know it. It's just, it's good for clicks. This is rage bait. People know it's rage bait. I know it's rage bait. That's why I'm not raging out about it. It's bullshit. And to think that Gamergate was nothing but targeting women means you weren't listening to the people. You were cherry-picking your answers that you were getting and looking at it that way. That sounds like a bad faith argument to me. Shocking, I know. Soon after I recapped Gamergate, other publications wrote about Gamergate as if it were more or less over. Turd Ferguson says, "Get woke, go broke. There's a Nobel Prize for developing that law of economics. Hayek would be proud." I wish more places would go broke. Actually, I wish more places would learn, honestly. More places would learn how this shit works. We wouldn't have to deal with stuff like the birds of prey. But I'll get to that in a second. One predicted that 2015 would be the year everyone forgot about Gamergate, noting that it is still around as a Twitter hashtag and a forum topic, but the relevance is waning from its peak in the fall. That's going to keep happening. And it has. It's kept happening. Gamergate is only brought up by these woke wannabe fucking publishers who want people to think that it's fucking still around. Yeah, it's been over for a while. They really need to stop beating this dead horse. Even Magog cannot raise this horse enough for them to keep beating on it. That did not keep happening. Yes, it did. But the media's insistence that it would provides a key insight into why Gamergate endured. Why Gamergate endured? Because y'all keep fucking bringing it up. It's turned into a boogeyman for you. Oh no, women are being criticized. It's Gamergate. Doesn't matter if it was comics, doesn't matter if it was video games, doesn't matter if it was movies, doesn't matter if it was the fucking newspaper. If it was men criticizing women or being snarky or being a little mean, it was Gamergate. And why it ultimately coalesced in the larger alt-right movement that helped fuel the election of President Trump. Here, let's highlight this. All right, let's highlight that. Do you guys, if you support Trump or not, you have to understand how asinine this comment is. If you don't like Trump, that's fine. You cannot like him. He is a boorish, brash asshole. He's a businessman. He knows that doing things that he has to do the certain way gets things done. But yeah, apparently 60 plus million people in this country are alt-right. Not that he was doing the right thing, saying the right thing. Not that it was he beat out a woman. It's that there's 64 million alt-right people in the country. Sure, we'll go with that. I guess that means there's 65 million far leftists in the country because they went after Hillary. They sided with her and she lost again. The alt-right did not get President Trump elected. It's an impossibility. Ferguson, I watched you play WoW with them, man. Hitler was pretty good. I couldn't believe out of all the people who would pick a gnome necromancer, I did not think it was going to be Hitler. But, there it is, with him picking the race with the biggest nose and, try and run everything. But it's there. I don't understand these people. I really don't. I don't understand these people. And these are the reasons why things like this happen. Alright? The box office. Did you guys know Birds of Prey came out? I didn't. I thought it was coming out at the end of this next week. Good thing it didn't come out at the end of this next week, because Sonic the Hedgehog does, and Sonic would blow this fucking thing out of the water. And that's something sad to say. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to make more money in its opening weekend than Birds of Prey, which is an established comic. But because Birds of Prey decided to get fucking woke, to the point that one of the reasons that Black Mask does not like Harley Quinn is, I kid you not, because she voted for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, it flopped worldwide. If one of your selling points of the movie is because the hero, quote-unquote hero, voted for Bernie Sanders and that's why the villain doesn't like her, You have failed your target audience. It's... So let's go over this real quick. Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn flew much lower than expected at the box office, collecting just $33.25 million when it debuted in 4,236 US theaters. The sequel to 2000's... It's not a sequel. It's not a sequel. Birds of Prey was not a sequel. It is a spin-off. So, Variety is wrong. You know, Ray, I don't know. I'm assuming she voted as Harleen Quinzel. Seeing Margot Robbie reprise her role as Harley Quinn now holds the unanimous distinction as the worst opening for any film in the DC Extended Universe. That's not true. Prior to Birds of Prey, the PG-13 Shazam had the lowest launch with $53 million. See, they don't... These fucking places, these fucking magazines like Variety and shit don't remember things like Jonah Hex. Okay? Jonah Hex opened with a box office of less than Charlie's Angels. Okay? Charlie's Angels had 8 million box office countrywide. Jonah Hex opened with $5.3 million made. That's it. No one fucking watched Jonah Hex. I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I didn't see it in theaters, but I don't remember what I saw instead, but I didn't see Jonah Hex in theaters, and neither did anybody else, which is why we never got another sequel with it. And you know what? Shazam is actually pretty good movie. I would take Shazam over Birds of Prey any day. That's somewhat of a surprise, since reviews for Birds of Prey were much stronger than its predecessor. However, Suicide Squad, which debuted with $133 million, was rated PG-13 and boasted higher profile comic book characters like the Joker. Okay, Variety, you need to check yourself. Okay? One of the most popular shows on the CW is Arrow, or was Arrow before it went off the air. And The Flash. Oh, and Supergirl. Do you want to know who's in that show? Who is very fucking popular? Who is in Birds of Prey? Black Canary. Oh, and let's not forget, Huntress debuted in the CW before this. Alright? These people don't actually do research on this shit. But it's fine. One of the biggest pops that Arrow got was when they were dealing with Argus and they did a mini Suicide Squad thing. Yeah, and Overwatch. They did a mini Suicide Squad thing on Arrow. And Harleen Quinzel was one of the prisoners. All you did was hear her voice, and it was Tara Strong. And everybody lost their goddamn minds because it was Harley. Which meant the Joker was out there. Which meant Batman was out there. So don't give me this bullshit that Birds of Prey didn't have the higher villain count. Okay? The highest one there. There were three A-list criminals, being Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and fucking Killer Croc. That was it. Anyway, let's continue down this rabbit hole of just dumbassness. Birds of Prey wasn't expected to reach those figures because it's rated R. Dun dun dun! Well, Tara Strong was also the voice of the original Harley Quinn. That's why everybody kind of lost their shit. They were hoping that Harley would actually make an appearance, because she's already been said to have been in the Arrowverse, that Harley may be mentioned more or actually have something going on. They can't bring in someone like the Joker, although they fucking tried when they had Mark Hamill play the jokester. Or the prankster, I'm sorry. They had Mark Hamill play the prankster. Might as well have just been the fucking Joker. But it's aside from all that. But it was on course to make around $50 million heading into the weekend, since it was the only new movie to open that weekend. How bullshit is your movie? How fucking horrible is your goddamn movie that it's the only new one out over the weekend and no one went to go see it? Birds of Prey, which cost roughly about $80 million before accounting for global marketing and distribution fees, could rebound over this coming weeks since there's not much direct competition. Sources at rival studios estimate it needs to make around $100 million at domestic box office to break even. The film also opened overseas, generating a soft $48 million from the 78 international markets. Look, I don't want to see Birds of Prey. I mean, I don't want to pay to see Birds of Prey. And I don't want to go through the effort of actually trying to pirate it. I don't care that much. I'll watch it. I'll watch Birds of Prey before I watch the Rise of Skywalker. I'll just put it that way. The studio said in parts of Southeast Asia, fears of coronavirus are impacting moviegoing. Globally, Birds of Prey made $81 million this weekend. Woo! Turd Ferguson says, question. Hey Siri, what is a radical intersectional feminist? Answer. A scorned woman who takes out her anger on others, hurting people around her, and absolutely no kind of remorse or character growth whatsoever. Not wrong. And I don't know if you heard, but my Siri decided to start up. If anybody else's Siri started up, I'm not sorry. Directed by Kathy Yan and written by Christina Hodson, Birds of Prey picks up after the events of Suicide Squad and sees Harley Quinn coping with her breakup from the Joker, played in this universe by Jared Leto. Yes, my Siri just clicked on. In this go-around, she teams up with a girl gang, Huntress, Black Canary, and Gotham detective Renee Montoya, who is Rosie Perez, to save a young girl from Gotham crime lord Black Mask, who doesn't don the Black Mask until I think the last 10 minutes of the movie. Compared to the blistering reviews for Suicide Squad, the critical consensus for Birds of Prey from the woke critics was strong, with an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Moviegoers gave it a B+ cinema score. Yeah, and then it came out, and people saw it, and told other people, don't go see this movie. Oh, and let's not forget that, this is another one of those, this movie isn't made for you kind of bullshit things, where they tell men, if you don't like it, don't worry about it, it's not for you, you don't have to see it. I wouldn't say it's the worst version of the Joker of all time, but it was pretty bad. I don't know. So Bad Boys for Life came out, which is Bad Boys 3. And apparently, Bad Boys 3, no one expected this movie to do anything. Because it had been, 12 years since fucking Bad Boys 2? 20 years? I don't know. It's been a while for Bad Boys. No one expected Bad Boys for Life to be a good movie. And then Bad Boys for Life came out and didn't take itself too seriously, had really good over-the-top action, allowed the crowd and allowed the fans to have what they wanted, and told a decent story with good writing and even better actors. But now Birds of Prey is going to come out as one of those movies that didn't succeed because the angry white men out there didn't want to go see the movie. Okay, well, ladies, if it's so important for you to, I don't know, see the movie, go see the fucking movie. You get to make it a success, not everyone else. You do it. And see, that's the problem with pandering to the woke crowd. They don't care about your product. They only care that you bend to their will. And once you do, they get to then say, we got a victory because we got them to do this. They don't care that your product then bombs or flops or doesn't make its money back. They only care that they got their way. So that's the problem. Stop pandering to these idiots. Once you stop pandering to the morons, and you start putting out good films, and in comparison, let's talk about Sonic. Sonic is not even out yet. I am not a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay? I've played maybe 3 games. I own 1. Okay? That's it. I'm more excited about seeing Sonic the Hedgehog than I was Birds of Prey. Why? Because the creators of Sonic the Hedgehog and the movie, Sega, basically said, we're getting so much pushback about the way Sonic looks. Not only are we going to redesign him to the way what people want. Now, I know it sounds kind of hypocritical saying this, but hold on. Follow my logic here. We were getting so much hatred about the way that this one character looked. We're just going to redesign the character. And they did. They pushed it back a fucking year to redesign the character. The first trailer came out after the redesign. People lost their goddamn minds. Because it was Sonic. Now, they didn't change anything in the story. They didn't do reshoots. They didn't do anything like that. They just changed the character design. Doing something like that, listening to the fans of that franchise to do that, yes, that's exactly what you should do. Changing the entire concept because a few woke Twitterati decided to tell you that they're not going to go see your movie because Harley Quinn isn't supposed to be a sex symbol or she's supposed to be an idol for young girls everywhere. You know, the sociopath, criminal, murderer is supposed to be some kind of feminist icon? Sure, we'll go with that. Like, don't change your entire IP because a couple people think it needs to get more woke. That's the whole get woke, go broke thing. Yeah, I was just gonna point that out, Turd. Thank you. He says they don't have the money for or even want to buy your product. They want everyone else to buy the thing they want, the way they want it to be. Jesse Jackson. Yeah, it's Jesse Jackson, the way he did things. They don't have money to go see the things to go buy. So the way things work with these woke idiots is, Zeo Gold, I'm going to use you as an example, so bear with me here. I do the Last Vox. It started in a different dimension. This has gotten huge popularity, and you know the Last Vox is as popular as Steven Crowder. Okay? Dear God, I wish that could happen. But Zeo Gold gets a couple of people to start complaining on Twitter that I'm doing things the wrong way. Now, the way that Zeo Gold does it is he wants me to change. And instead of him changing, he just wants me to change the way that I want and wants everybody else to be happy about it. So my response to him would be something like, well, if you want me to change this way, you do it first. You're asking me to do it. You do the good thing and do that shit first. Which is why I don't listen to I don't listen to Hollywood. I don't listen to these fucking millionaire fucking politicians who are telling me that I have to live a certain way. Okay? That I need to spend my money. Fuck Michael Bloomberg for saying that poor people wouldn't know what to do with extra money, so we need to tax them more. Motherfucker, I've been poor. One of the biggest problems that are in a poor person's life is not having money. Now, I understand he was talking about how poor people get money and they want to spend it all. That's because we don't have the money beforehand, and there are things that we want that you... There are things that we want that you, as a multi-billionaire, don't have to worry about. Okay? So, there's that. But that's why I don't listen to these people. Mark Ruffalo wants people to go green. Mark Ruffalo wants socialism. Alright, multi-millionaire, award-winning actor, you go first. You distribute your wealth to the nation before you worry about my small amount being distributed. Bernie Sanders wants Medicare for all. Okay, cool, Bernie. You had a heart attack recently, remember? You go ahead and give up your private health care that you were using to get in and out of the hospital quickly. And go to Canada. Sorry, Mitzi, your fake country has a fucked up healthcare system. Go to Canada where they do have socialized healthcare and wait in line next time. Okay? When you wait in line and you lose whatever limb that's hurt or whatever it is that's a problem with you, then come back to America and get your private healthcare back. Sorry, see how cool? Next time you use me as an example, let it be in a less dick move role. I'm sorry, man. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. But that's the thing. Don't listen to these fucking politicians. Don't listen to these multi-billionaires that have money trying to tell you how to live your life. Alright, AOC wants the Green New Deal, right? AOC didn't know what the fuck a garbage disposal was. Not to mention, this bitch has 2 apartments. One in New York and one in Washington, D.C. Why? Because she's a congressperson. She has to have residency in her district. And she has to have residency in D.C. Did she go for the cheap apartments? No. She went for luxury apartments. Why? Because she wants security. She wants the wall to separate her from people. She wants to show off the money she has. She wants the rest of us to give it up. You do it first, I'll follow if it works. When it fails, I get to laugh at you. I hate these fucking politicians. I really do. And here's a good reason why. Okay? Fake news is nothing new. Fake news has been around for a while. Before it was called fake news, it was called alternative facts. It's just people not doing their research, not doing their it's just people listening to other people. So, when you have politicians like AOC spouting things like every single Trump supporter is a racist, hate-filled, white supremacist, homophobe, transphobe, Islamophobe, insert more adjectives here, you get things like what happened, was it today? I believe it was today. Today is the 9th. This article is from the 9th. You get things like this. Man plows van through voter registration tent, narrowly missing Trump campaign volunteers. Ben says, Antoine, I will start a change.org campaign just to get you to sound more brutish and accept Canadian Mitzi values about a stupid flag with a leaf on it. Yeah, Turd, you're right. Ask vets how socialized medicine works with the VA hospitals. I've known vets. They hate VA hospitals, but most of the time they can't afford to go anywhere else. So they have to go and they have to fucking wait. So, yeah, this idiot who believes everything that people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, the squad, and every other fucking woke wannabe journalist on Twitter believe that all Trump supporters are racist. So this fucking idiot decided he was going to drive a van through a volunteer tent. All because these people think differently than he does. These people like Trump. Does Antoine still think Sandman from MGTOW is a moron? Yes, I do. How's it going, Malik? Not talking about MGTOW right now, but yeah, Sandman's a moron. When you believe that vaginas secrete magical mind-controlling powers, that's pretty bad. Can't come back from that one, I'm sorry. Authorities arrested a suspect who allegedly drove his van through a voter registration tent in Florida, narrowly missing volunteers campaigning for President Donald Trump. Gregory Tim, who is 27 years old, was taken into custody after the incident at the Kernan Village Shopping Center in Jacksonville on Saturday, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office said. The Republican Party of Duval County said 6 volunteers had been intentionally targeted while registering voters outside the mall on Saturday afternoon. That's some bullshit. You're going to go get registered as a Republican, and some moron decides to drive a van through it because you disagree with his ideology. It's gone that far. This is an act of terrorism, which is why, on Twitter today, hashtag Antifa terrorists was trending. It's that simple. That was an act of terrorism. Oh, Ray. I'm not repeating that one. You're on your own. In a post on Facebook, the group said a brown and gold van driven by a white man... Not a white man? Are you saying that the super woke leftists are all white and are telling people who are lower down on the oppression Olympics scale that they know what's better for them? It kind of sounds like that, doesn't it? Accelerated into a crowd of volunteers at a voter registration tent at around 2:45 p.m. Eastern before fleeing the scene. Oh, don't tell me that, Zeo Gold. There are people in this chat that want me to do another Sandman video. Oh, crap. You know what? I found someone else, thanks to Wren, that Antoine's going to have to respond to. I'm not going to say when the video is going to come out, but there will be another video done about this person, because it broke my brain, listening to him for the first time. I honestly believe the guy thinks that the Matrix is a real thing. But we're getting off topic here. See, Zeo Gold, see what you did? Thankfully, Republican voters narrowly avoided being struck by the accelerating van. The driver sped away after making an obscene gesture towards the crowd. So not only did he try and kill a bunch of people, he then flipped them off as he left. Because, well, he's a privileged white man who is trying to tell the proletariat that he knows better than they do. Duval County GOP Chairman Dean Black said he was outraged by the incident and said the party would not be intimidated. We are outraged by this senseless act of violence toward our great volunteers. There are people out there who believe that TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, does not exist. It's a made-up term. I'm sorry. What was that? You hate Trump supporters so much that you risk the rest of your young life and going to prison? Do you guys want to see what this dude looks like? I have a picture of him. I thought the article would have it, but they don't. This young man, who has crazy eyes, as best as I can describe it, has now thrown away his life. Okay? This is Gregory Tim. This Antifa member wanted to kill Trump volunteers. This is some bullshit, people. Honestly, this is some goddamn bullshit. I am not a violent person. I do my best to make sure that violence doesn't happen. I try to de-escalate things. But there are people like this who just cannot be reasoned with. They think it is bad enough that you do not believe in the same thing that they do, that you deserve to die, or lose your job, or not be able to provide for your family, or 100 other excuses and justifications that they give themselves to hurt you. Because they don't like Trump, it is okay to mess with you. I'm sorry, that's not how things work. Okay? It's not. And if you think it does, fuck you. Okay? I honestly, the whole punch a Nazi thing, you're a fucking fascist. You're using violence and intimidation to try and silence people. Now they say, I can't be a fascist. We're Antifa. It stands for anti-fascism. Well, then you're doing what fascists do. No, we still can't be fascists because we don't have the power. Well, I'm sorry, that was a 27-year-old white, I don't know if he's cis, but white male, who decided to take his power and the vehicle that he had, the 3-ton made of steel and aluminum and metal and gas and probably faux leather, and I can guarantee he's a dumbass that has like the furry dice in his rear view mirror, off of his rear view mirror. But he took that power and tried to kill people with it. You're just as bad, if not more so. Now this next one, we're gonna calm things down with the New York Times. Now I know you're going, Matt, hold on. How are we gonna calm things down with the New York Times? The New York Times is a trash site. New York Times is just as bad as Vox. New York Times, they can't stand people like us. How are you going to calm things down? Well, we're going to talk about dating. And this is for all the feminists out there. For online daters, women peak at 18, while men peak at 50. 50. I was thinking of the 350 joke. My bad. Women peak at 18, while men peak at 50. Study finds. Oi. Isn't that the dumbest fucking statement you've ever heard? I mean, like, I've heard some stupid things today. I heard stupid things yesterday. Hell, I follow BuzzFeed on Twitter just so I can find dumbass articles to talk about. Yeah, Ray, you got 39 years. You got 39 years behind you, 11 years to peak. But, scientifically, I would say that men their sexual peak is about 21. I think it's from like 18 to 21 is their sexual peak. Women peak in their early to mid 30s. Ain't that some shit? All right, let's get into this because they want to talk about Picasso. If you haven't watched Nanette, Hannah Gadsby's fearless comedy special on Netflix, do that now. We'll wait. Don't, because it will kill your sense of humor. It's kind of like watching Amy Schumer. People say you need to watch it, but it's just one vile, nasty vagina joke. In it, Miss Gadsby takes on fragility of masculinity. Like I said, like Amy Schumer. And at one point drills into Pablo Picasso. Because Pablo Picasso can't fucking, fight back. And, it was a long-ass time ago when things were completely and utterly different. I hate this when they take the standards of today and try to put it against the standards of 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Things have changed so fucking much, there is no possible comparison you can make. But she decided to rip into one of the greatest painters of all time. Sure. Well into his 40s, had an affair with a teenage girl. Well, back in the day, she was at her prime. It happened. It happened all the time. Miss Gadsby, who has a degree in art history, because doesn't art history just scream comedy? Recounted how Picasso justified the relationship by claiming that he and the girl, Marie-Therese Walter, were both in their prime. Seething, Miss Gadsby said a 17-year-old girl is never in her prime. Ever. I'm in my prime. She's 40. You see, back then, he was in his 40s. He was almost dead. Back then, they didn't live very fucking long. Men were in their prime back in the day of Pablo Picasso. Men were in their prime in their 20s. Women were in their prime as early as 14. This is why you can't use shit like this to compare to today's standards. Oh, and let's not pass over the whole he justified it. You see, I have a belief. And it's something I try and live by. I don't always do it. I don't always succeed. But I honestly believe if you are trying to justify something, you inherently know it's wrong. You just are trying to make yourself feel better by justifying it and convincing the other person that it's the right thing to do. So yeah, Picasso justified him banging a 17-year-old while he's 40. To his fucking peers, he was like, yeah, I got a 17-year-old mistress. What do you have? They didn't look down on it because it was normal. There was no age of consent. It was as soon as the girl started to have her menses, her first period, she was basically able to fucking... Are you sure he died in 1973? Hold on. Holy shit. Pablo Picasso died in 1980. Damn. It was still the early 1900s, but holy shit, man lived a while. Pablo Picasso almost lived 100 fucking years. Holy shit. You know what? Can't say anything about that. No, he didn't die in the 90s. He died in his 90s. God damn. But regardless, all right, he's 40 years old. He was born in, so that's 1920s. Being 17, you still didn't live as long as you do now. He was still dating. Big fucking deal. He was 40. He's the male version of a cougar. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that even in the 20s, 17, you were being married off. Depending in some cultures, you were being married off at 6, but we're not going to talk about that. The anecdote came to mind recently in response to a new study about online dating, published in the journal Science Advances. In it, researchers studied the desirability of male and female users based on how many messages nearly 200,000 users, all of whom were seeking opposite-sex partners, got over 1 month on a popular free online dating service. And if those sending the messages were desirable based on the same criteria. The researchers determined that while men's sexual desirability peaks at age 50, women's start high at 18 and fall from there. This is explainable. Okay? Yeah, you could say that, Zeogold. So, early on in men's careers, in men's lives, their sexual status and their desirability is very, very low. Now, this is what MGTOW like to fucking harp on, which is men have to work for what they get, right? And over the time of their lives, they work hard, they make money, they make a living for themselves. And by the time that they get to 25, 30 years old, if they have a career, they become much more desirable. Why? Because they are someone who can provide stability, someone who can provide shelter, someone who can provide food. They become, in the eyes of a lot of women, are desirable. It's what they want. Now, what ends up happening with a woman? Well, when they're younger, and I'm not saying for every guy, okay? It is not every guy. I'm not saying every guy is like this, and I'm not saying every girl is like this. But women are able to use their looks to get things. We've all seen it. We've all heard about it. We all have talked about it. I've even talked about it in videos, talking about things like women's only nights, or girls' nights at bars, right? Girls drink half off. Their looks are basically what entails them as their social currency. They don't have to be providers. They don't have to have a living. They don't have to have earnings. And by the time they reach 50, if they have not taken care of themselves, they are looking for a younger guy to make them feel like they did when they were younger. Except they can't find them. Now, I'm not saying there aren't beautiful 50-year-old women. Look at J-Lo. Regardless of the fact that she's had surgery, J-Lo is in her 50s. On top of that, J-Lo has also had a personal trainer most of her life. Okay? There are beautiful 50-year-old women. But the ones that the 18-year-old women are going for, they're going for the 30-year-old men who have careers, who have jobs, who can provide for them. Now, they're trying to make it seem like men are just pigs. Because we want to go after the young women. We want to go after people more than half our age. This is not true. This is talking about social currency. Not actual social dynamics. Not actual personalities. This is nothing but basis of who wants to fuck who. And they want to turn this into something more devious. That society is still pro-men and anti-women, because women can't do anything after they're 18 years old, because no man wants them. 200,000 users. This does not tell us anything about these people other than they want to fuck a certain amount of people in a certain age range. Now, we've all heard this little thing before, right? Girls like older guys because girls mature faster than boys. Yeah, they do. Which is why they like men who are more mature. Ray says, I spent 2 years among 18 and 19-year-old women in a university setting. They're morons. You're not wrong. I've looked back at my life and wondering, how the fuck am I still alive with some of the things that I've done? But regardless, this is all social currency. And unfortunately, men's social currency is different than women's social currency. A man's social currency is only his looks if he looks like Brad Pitt. Or George Clooney. Or Kevin Bacon back in the day. Or Gerard Butler. Okay? When they look like that, then their social currency is that. But if they don't look like that, their social currency is their career. What they can provide. What they can offer. Women's social currency, yeah, unfortunately when they're younger, is their looks. And it's sad to say it's breeding stock. I hate that term, but if a guy is looking for a family, he's not going to be dating a 50-year-old. He's not going to be dating a 40-year-old. He's going to be dating someone 18 to 35. Now, I've seen odd-aged couples. I've been in odd-aged couples. I've been with 2 women that were 10 years older than myself. My last few relationships, they've been right around my age. This social currency shit is just bullshit. And they know that, but they want to make a big statement about how society and the patriarchy... No, I didn't say I'm a 4-year-old. I said 40-year-old. They want to say that the patriarchy is the reason that they can't find good men when they're older. Well, when you treat people like shit and you get, people, and you have the personality of a porcupine because you've listened to people like what is her fucking name? When you listen to the radical when you listen to people like Big Red, you're not going to find someone who wants to deal with something like you. Now here's the funny thing. You guys remember Mattress Girl, right? Do you want to hear something funny about Mattress Girl? Mattress Girl was very far left. She was the poster child for sexual assault on campus. She did her whole carry the mattress thing. She tried to get the dude kicked out of college, and he won his civil suit. Mattress Girl continued being her leftist self and went to Tinder because she couldn't find anybody. On Tinder, she met a really good-looking man and decided to try and give him a shot. And they talked about politics. Now, this is all from her mouth. They talked about politics and found out that he was a conservative. Her left-wing views changed. She wanted to be around him, so she started thinking more about the conversations that they were having. And her far-left views changed. She started seeing things more his way. Because she got a good dicking. I hate putting it that way, but she got fucked well, and shit changed. All of these left-wing fucking politics things, they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to the other side, because if you listen to the other side, you may be able to convince them otherwise. Which is why they don't like talking to people like me. They don't like talking to people like Sargon of Akkad. They don't like talking to people like Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro. They don't want to be convinced. They don't want to hear what we have to say. Turd Ferguson says, weird how feminists want men to be soy boys, except for when it comes to them personally. Then they want true alpha toxic males. I wouldn't know about toxic males, but they do want someone who's willing to take the reins. Most feminist women from studies basically want men who act like men. They don't want to be dominated. They don't want to be treated poorly. But they want men to act like men. They only want the soy boys to cater to their needs, give them what they want. And that's part of that social currency. These radical feminists, they have problems. If you've seen some of them, you know they have problems. They have problems finding guys. So when they have soy boys feigning and fanning and falling all over them and trying to give them what they want to make them happy, they're happy about it because it gives them that sense of that they have currency. But they're not happy with themselves. So they're not going to continue with wanting these soy boys to just cater to their every need. And when that happens, they get bored. We are seeing people on the right that don't want to talk to the other side or listen to the other side. It's because you can only bang your head up against a fucking wall so many times before you give up. You know, it's when you see things like Change My Mind and you got people going in there calling Steven Crowder all manner of things because he wants to have a conversation. They don't want that. Alright, let's see where this goes. Okay, so it was from OkCupid. Let's finish this, and I got one more to scare you guys before I head out here. If I get to it, we'll finish this up. The study results echoed data shared by the dating behemoth OkCupid in 2010, in which the service found that men from ages of 22 to 30 focused almost entirely on women who are younger than them. Like this is a bad thing. It's not. It's that double standard. It's okay for women to go after young men, and they're like, yes, you go get him, girl. You do what you need. But if a dude goes after a younger girl, he's disgusting. The median 30-year-old man spends as much time messaging teenage girls as he does women his own age. So that kind of goes against what you're saying. It just means he's going after as many women as he can. If he's going after his own age, equal to younger women, that doesn't really say that they're just going after the younger women, like this article is implying. OkCupid also reported that as a man gets older, he searches for relatively younger and younger women, while his upper acceptable age limit hovers just above his own age. So again, we're talking about a man basically going after people his own age and younger. The male fixation on youth distorts the dating pool. How? How does this distort the fucking dating pool? How? You just said 2 paragraphs up that not only does he go after his own age, but he also goes after younger women. This is stupid. Okay, Cupid, you're a moron. Whoever wrote your article, whoever wrote your blog post at the time, fucking idiots. You debunk yourself in your own words. And when he gets older, so when we go from 25 to 40, not only does the man still look at younger women and try and get with younger women, but he still goes after women his own age, even if a little higher than his own age. How does that distort the dating pool? Seal Gold says, I don't know, I'm 31. Girls seem to be creeped out when I try to get an 18-year-old. Though, I gotta remember that I'm looking for 18 31-year-old girls. Turd Ferguson says, sounds a bit like supply and demand. Almost like men seek a free market and women leverage their comparative advantages to attract men. Yes. Alright, let's go on to caveman mentality. This is a quick one, because, Unga, caveman. Michelle Drouin, of course it's female, a developmental psychologist who focuses on technology and relationships, who knows everything about men because she's experienced. Was not surprised by the new study. In part because they align with evolutionary theories of mating, in which youth suggests fertility, she said. Did I say Zeo Gold? I'm sorry. Za said that, not Zeo Gold. My bad. Dr. Dronin pointed out, though, that there are also theories that suggest that men are just less interested in earning potential or power and more interested in physical attractiveness. Didn't I just say that? It's simple for people to understand, right? You don't need a degree in developmental psychology to understand that men kind of don't care about the woman earning things, because we were raised basically and told from birth it's your job to take care of the girl. You get a job, you make money, you become wealthy, you get married, you have babies, you repeat. That's what we've been told. So, yeah, we don't look at physical attractiveness. Or we look at physical attractiveness. We don't look at earning or potential. Would I support you, Ishtar, if you wanted to be a stay-at-home wife? Yeah. If you wanted to be a housewife? Sure. I would support you every chance I got. See, even Zaw says it. Wouldn't want the girl to be deep in debt. Women want brains. Men care less. Speaking of earning potential, Dr. Brush also found that a man's desirability increased the more education he attained. For women, that benefit ended with an undergraduate degree. A postgraduate education, in fact, made them less desirable. Women now outnumber men in college and earn more degrees, Dr. Brush said, adding preferences coupled with the availability of partners may drive the partners we see in our paper. Dr. Drowan said that educational dynamic might also be related to beliefs that higher degrees among women translate into more work commitment and less relationship and family commitment. Are you saying, doctors, that men want women to spend time with them? That men want women to want family commitment in a relationship? It's almost like that's what women want from men. It's honestly a goddamn shocker. Do you want to know what this kind of points out? Women like education. Well, according to most people in America today, more education means more money. So what this report is basically saying is that women, young women, are looking for men who make more money. Oops, I guess that never crossed their mind. Right? But no, this is all bad because men like younger women. People aim high. There's nothing wrong with that. Probably too high. Alright, real quick before we get into this. I don't believe in that league bullshit. I don't believe that anyone is out of anyone's league. Because we've heard all the time that the most beautiful girl at the prom or at the dance or in the club probably has less self-esteem than you do. Real quickly, $6.90 from Nathan Marcano. This one's for Mitzi. Canada isn't real. Also, I wonder when affirmative action will help men for college. I won't hold my breath. None of us will either, Nathan, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't believe that anyone is out of a league. I don't believe that anyone has a league. So that beautiful girl that's you think is out of your league, go talk to her. Guys, embarrass yourself. Be prepared to embarrass yourself. But guess what? You make her laugh, you get her attention. You can ask hundreds of women, what do they like most in men? And one of the number one answers is, he makes me laugh. I want a guy to make me laugh. There is no league. There is only confidence. Do you have confidence enough in yourself to go talk to that girl? If you don't, well, that's your problem. So I don't believe this whole aim too high thing. So let's get into this with that being the caveat and the preface of my thing. Za, it's fine. I embarrass myself all the time. You can ask Ishtar. I am an embarrassing person. But I know I make her laugh. And when I make her laugh, it's the most beautiful sound in the world. Dr. Dronin stressed that the preferences of people seeking mates online reflect aspiration, not necessarily what people want in real life. So this doctor has basically stated that women across the board who want education and money more than anything else than the guy's looks are gold-digging whores. This person is not helping women at all. A key finding to the study was that most users sent messages to people who were more desirable than themselves. 25% more desirable, to be in fact. This data represents the reality of dating preferences. In other words, dating out of your league. That is often not the reality of dating. These messages sent by online daters can be likened to a slot machine play in Vegas. She said, little investment on the front end might pay out big on the back end. Only if she's got a really nice back end. So why not opt for a chance at the biggest win? Now, this is kind of saying that guys just go for the scattershot approach. And believe it or not, there's a tactic that I do promote for when someone is having trouble getting the attention of women. I have tried to get my best friend to do it, and he refuses. Oh, Nathan. Ouch. Alright, so here's something you guys might want to try. If you're having trouble, it's kind of like upselling yourself. If you've ever worked in customer service and there's something that you desperately need to sell, you upsell it. You offer it every single time. When you're in the food industry, this is always a thing. Yes, Za, the business card thing. So, I've talked to Za about this. I've tried to get my best friend to do it. It's real simple. It is kind of a scattershot approach, but there is a key to it. A lot of girls don't like it when you put them on the back, on the front, right? On the back foot and fronting to basically, excuse me, to basically having no power. They feel vulnerable when you go up, hey, you want to go get something to eat, you want to go get some coffee, sometime you want to do... When you ask them out on a date, you're putting them in a vulnerable position, and most girls don't like that. So what you do, and it doesn't matter if you do it to 1 or if you do it to 50, you have a card, a business card, or a card with your number on it and your name. You basically, if they're talking, you wait until there's a pause in the conversation. You say, excuse me, I didn't want to interrupt, but you look like a really interesting person, and I love meeting new people. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm going to give you this. This is my number. If you'd like to have a conversation sometime, text me, and we can set something up. You don't have to say it like that, but you put your own spin on it. And what that does is it puts the ball in her court. She has all the power. She can either choose to text you back, or she can choose to text you, she can choose to call you, or she can choose to ignore you. But there's one key point to this. You showed enough confidence to go up to a complete stranger. You apologized to her friend that she's having a conversation with, and you got her attention. Fortunately, that's all you really have to do is get their attention. Now, whether she wants to call you or not, that's up to her, but that's the point. You do that to as many girls as you want, you're gonna get a 10% return. So yes, that's kind of what guys do. My best friend has the most balls I've ever seen on a man, because he is, and I don't mean that literally, I've never seen them. God, that's going to be taken out of context. He has asked out women constantly. He has no fear going up to a girl and just asking her out. The problem is he doesn't have any follow-through. So my friend has had issues. This is a way you can get around that issue. You let them get to know you on their own merits. Nathan says, confidence is a strange thing. I met up with some internet friends in Boston last October, and it was fine, and I can speak to and at random people. Ray says, Matt's friend and Lance Armstrong once had a Who Has More Balls contest. Matt's friend won by 5. But it's kind of, it is advice, and it is a way of selling yourself. And it's kind of the scattershot approach that this person is talking about. Guys are very simple. Guys are extremely simple. And if we see someone we like, we want to get to know them. It's not that hard. And if we really like them, we want to get to know them more. It's all about appearances for us. Turd Ferguson says, I'll add one thing to that. Hold on to the card a little longer, and when they take the card, while maintaining eye contact. It's a baller close. Oh, no, Za. No. Phrasing, Za. Phrasing. Oh, this is going so far down. This is spiraling out of control. We got one more paragraph. One more paragraph. But then again, the internet can't read chemistry. This is true. In the real world, the woman with a graduate degree who knows your favorite karaoke passage, speaks a few languages, or discovers new ways to cure disease might be undeniably attractive, she said. Think of Amal Clooney. I don't know who the fuck Amal Clooney is. So, I went a little farther with this article than I wanted to, but that's fine. Men, you can't judge people off of their dating habits on OkCupid. If you were to go off of Tinder, you would become a MGTOW so fucking quick it would make your head spin. Just like if you were to go off of fucking Tinder as a woman, you become a raving feminist. These things do not equate real world people. These are projections of yourself. And if I can end it on a good note, if I could end it on something that may be able to help people that are having problems with this, is confidence is key. Alright? You do want to have the confidence to go up to the person that you find attractive and say something. Malik says, do you think loyalty is a serious problem nowadays when it comes to relationships? Depending on the relationship. Are we talking about friendship or are we talking about romantic relationship? Because I don't think loyalty is a problem in romantic relationships. I think honesty is a problem in romantic relationships. People not being honest with what they like, with what they want, with their needs, their wants, and their desires. Loyalty is not something that you demand out of your romantic relationship. Because if you care about that person and they care about you, loyalty will come about. It's not about loyalty, it's about respect. And if you can't respect your partner, then why are you even in the relationship? If you can't respect them enough to be honest with them, why are you there? Zio Gold, dressing like a JoJo reference, possibly, depending on the area that you're in. Yeah, that could probably get someone's attention. Nathan Marcano says, I had a friend, fantastic person, and unfathomably smart. Dude was blind to when he was getting played like a violin. 9 out of 10 times it had to be done in front of his face. Yeah, that's also a problem. But, so, let me get back to my, if it could help anybody. Confidence is key. But it's not just the confidence that you need. You need to get their attention. And this goes for men and women. Okay? If you're a woman and you want to get a dude's attention, you got to be confident in it, but you got to get his attention some way. Be it your personality, a joke, a business card that has your number on it because you think that they're interesting and would like to get to know more about them. Or you could do what I tried to do with my friend and talk up some of his faults as some of the best stories in the world. Having a good wingman or wingwoman is always a good idea. Here's something that I want to say. Here's an example. My friend, the one that I got to introduce Ishtar to when we were on vacation, actually ran from the cops in a street race. Now, he's not proud of that. It was a bad time in his life, but he's done a lot of dumb things. Now, whether he's proud of that or not, that's a story. So me, as his wingman, started coming up with the idea, because I know his story. I've known this dude for 20 years. Probably longer than that. I think 25 years. I wanted to take all of his faults, all of his bad habits, all of the things that he did wrong, that he's learned from, and I started calling him the most interesting man in the world. Now, there used to be, I don't know if they're on TV anymore, but there used to be a commercial that was based off the most interesting man in the world. So my thing, when I was talking up the girl for him, was, you know those commercials about the most interesting man in the world? They were based on my friend Jay. You know, they talked to him, they found out what he used to do. Now, right off the bat, the girl knows I'm talking nothing but bullshit. But she's got a smile on her face. I said, this man has not only outrun the cops, like in GTA, but he did it while he was racing in a Honda Civic and got away scot-free. That's a story. The girl knows I'm talking bullshit. The girl knows I'm exaggerating. There's nothing. I'm smiling while I'm doing it, but I'm over-exaggerating. That's the perfect line for him to kind of get her attention. Jay, on the other hand, would go, no, none of that is true. Yes, like that time when Vin Diesel had to babysit. You gotta have confidence. You gotta get their attention. When you have their attention, you gotta have follow-through. It's called the game for a reason. So think of what you can do. Think of how you can do it. Have fun with it. And guys, realize by doing this, you're gonna look like an idiot more often than not. But depending on the girl, you may look like a fun idiot to be around. And that's all that matters. So, thank you for joining me, guys. It's about that time. Glad to be back. I know we talked about some serious stuff this episode, but I hope I could help you out with some advice. And I honestly hope you guys have a good weekend. And more than anything, I hope you guys are enjoying life as much as I am. And just have fun with life, guys. Life is way too short to sweat the small stuff. So I hope to see you next week. Maybe you could even join Antoine and the ladies on MSNBC on Tuesday nights. But if not, I hope to see you back here Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Last Vox for a little bit more sanity. I'll catch you all later.